such a blessing to be here this evening with all of you. I was preparing to study through this a couple days ago, and it really finally hit me for maybe the first time when I've ever presented a lesson, just the gravity and the weight what I'm doing right now holds. The ability that we have to preach the Word of God, our Almighty Creator, and Jesus, who died on the cross to save us from our sins. The ability for us as mere men of God, women of God, for ladies' classes, to be able to teach that is incredible. It holds a great weight, and it's something to be taken very seriously. And that's why I'm always so honored when I get the privilege to speak in front of you. And again, every time I come up, I say this, but it's just so great that I'm able to speak not only to a congregation of God's people, but the congregation of God's people that I was fortunate enough to be raised in, that I grew up in. I first heard about God, I was baptized in God's Word, and I spent my formative years understanding the love for God. And I have a lot of love for a lot of you people. And I love you too, Mr. Tom. I have a lot of love for you. And it's very interesting that you said that, because that's what we're talking tonight. It's about the love. God's love for us and our love for others. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but it's happened to me a couple of times over the past few years. I would be out in my car, and I was hungry, so I'd go to a fast food place, go to a drive-thru, I'd place my order, I'd go to the cashier window, and I would get ready to give my cashier the money, and they would say something to me like, "Oh, the person in front of you has already paid for your food." And that's happened to me a couple of times, and it always makes me so happy. It's just a cool little thing that happens because you're not expecting it, and it really takes somebody that really wants to show a stranger love. And it's crazy because when you think about it, that's a small act. I mean, it's not going to be a lot of money to give to that person, but just the fact that it's a stranger that you don't know and you're showing them love. It's crazy how a small thing like that can make someone feel so special. There was a man one time who decided in his life that he was going to do that every time he went to the fast food place. Every time he went to a drive-thru, he was going to pay for the person behind him. And think about how much love that can create and how much love that can spread. You have the man himself, he's showing love to others. You have the cashier at the window, they're witnessing love. You have the person, of course, who's getting their food paid for, and they're getting that feeling of love. They're receiving love and getting that good feeling. And you have his family, wife, kids, somebody that may be in the car with them. And they're seeing and getting implanted in them from an early age what it means to love and how special love can be. And feeling loved is great. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody on this earth that doesn't want to feel like somebody cares about them. You think about times in your life when you may feel loved. And I've been lucky enough where I've had a lot of times, a lot of people that have made me feel loved, have made me feel needed, important, and special in my life. And those feelings are great. I mean, there's a reason why most people love love. And there's so many different types of love. It can make you feel so special, whether it's familiar love with your family, love with friends, love for an activity or a sport, something that you have a passion in, love with, whether it be something that you admire, maybe a role model or something that you look up to, and of course, romantic relationship love. But the love that is above all that, the love that makes us feel the best, is God's love. That everlasting love, eternal love, agape love. We see that the greatest love that we can receive in this life is from God. God is love, and love is God. Love is synonymous with God. God is the one who first loved us. If you have your Bibles and you're following along, turn into 1 John 4. I'd like to thank you for reading that, because that's where we're getting a lot of our points here tonight. 1 John chapter 4 talks all about love. 1 John 4, starting verse 7 says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. And this love of God was manifested toward us. God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. In this is love, not that we love God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be a propitiation for our sins." We see that God is love. We need to love one another. It says everyone who loves is born of God and knows God, but he who does not love does not know God, for God is love. We see that God is love and he can give us the greatest love that we could ever hope to receive. When we think about verses or characteristics of love, 1 Corinthians 13 often comes up. 1 Corinthians 13, it talks about a lot of the characteristics of love, and since God is love, love is God, we can establish that. We can see that these characteristics of it says, love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not puffed up. It does not behave rudely. It does not seek its own. It is not provoked. It thinks no evil. It does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. This is God's love towards us. We see these characteristics of this everlasting agape love. So we see, obviously, that God loves us, but that begs the question. That brings up something that we would want an answer to, and it's simply this. How can we see God's love? How can we see God's love in our everyday life? Luckily for us, we can go to the answer in 1 John 4 once again. In verse 12 it says, no one has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God abides in us, and his love has been perfected in us. No one has seen God, but if we love each other, God abides in us, and his love is perfected in us. So this is where we get to the concrete part of our lesson. And if you're taking notes, what I'm about to say is our main point, our main sentence, what you need to take away. The entire lesson this evening will be summed up into this sentence. It is the one thesis statement that can have two applications made from it. It is simply this. We can see the love of God through the love that we receive and through the love that we share. We can see the love of God through the love that we receive and the love that we share. When I think of someone receiving love, and I think of a story in the Bible, one of the first words I think of is one of the most famous stories, a parable of Jesus. That, of course, is the parable of the prodigal son. In Luke chapter 15, it talks about the prodigal son. He goes to his father, asks for his inheritance. And this is where we see the first sign of love. The first act of the father to show his love to his son, because he grants that wish. The son receives love from his father in the form of his wish being granted and his inheritance being given. He goes off and, of course, he spends all his money on frivolous things. He's left with nothing. He comes to the realization that it'd be better to go back to his father's house as a servant than to wallow away in the pigsty and poor in a foreign land, in poverty in a foreign land. We see that he determines to himself that he's going to go back to his home and just ask his father to be a servant. Not this son, what he actually is, but a servant. And of course, this is where we see the second act of love from the father. The father not only accepts his son back into his house, but accepts him back into his house as his son. The father had every right to turn the son away. The son had already decided to go live on his own, and he had every right to say that you're grown up and you made the decisions, and that's not my responsibility. He had every right to say, yes, I welcome you back, but you will be a servant, and I won't treat you special. But we see the prodigal son receiving love from his father, because the father receives him back into his family, receives him as one of his sons, and throws a banquet and a party for him. We see this true love between this father and his son. And that brings up the point that true love changes things. When you have people in your life that truly love you, truly care about you, truly want what's best for you, it changes things. It changes your life. It changes the decisions you make. It can change the outcomes of events. Last Tuesday, I was sitting in my house. I was all alone. My parents had gone out of town. They were 4 or 5 hours away at this point. And I had somewhere to be, so I was getting ready, and I was going to go clean out my car because I normally don't have a good habit of keeping it very clean. So I got a trash bag. I went outside, and as soon as I got outside, I realized that I didn't have my car keys. I have this habit about me where if I leave my house, the actual physical house, it doesn't matter if I'm just going to the backyard or if I'm going out to the front yard to do something in the driveway or to go to my car, I always lock the front door. If I leave my house, it doesn't matter if I'm even leaving the premises, I always lock my front door. So I was out there just to make sure, and sure enough, I locked the front door and I didn't have my keys. I didn't panic. I figured that obviously there's going to be some way I can get in this house. There's no way that I would be locked out and have to sit here for 5 hours waiting for my parents to come home. So I go to the back door, and it's locked. A little bit of panic sets in. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. So I call my mom, and they tell me to go and check all the windows and see if any of them are unlocked. Because if a window's unlocked, I the windows. It took me a couple minutes to make sure, and they were all locked. At that point, I wasn't on the phone with my parents, and I made a decision. I decided that I was going to get into this house by any means necessary. I was going to find one of the windows. I was either going to kick it in, punch it in, find something in the house that I could use to barricade it and hit it with an object. And that's how I was going to get into this house. Now, if I would have done that, if that were the action that I would take, that would have caused a lot of destruction, a lot of damage. It would have caused damage to the window, perhaps broken glass. It would have caused damage to things inside the house. We have 2 dogs. If they were around there, perhaps maybe they would have even gotten hurt. It would have left lasting consequences because we would have to get somebody to replace it. It would take a couple of weeks, maybe a month for a replacement to come in, and it would cost a good bit of money. My decision would have caused destruction and had consequences. So I called my parents. And instead of doing what I wanted to do, leading on my own devices, I turned to people who were wiser than me, but most importantly, loved me with all their heart, and that wants what's best for me and care about me. And they gave me the answer all along that was the obvious answer that I hadn't even thought of. They were just going to call a locksmith, and I would just have to wait 25 minutes in the front. They would bring in, I'd sign the paperwork, and I'd get into the house. The locksmith came, sure enough, opened the front door in 15 seconds, and I was in the house. All the windows were safe. If I would have been left to my own devices, if I would have done what I thought was best, my decision would have caused a lot of destruction. And we can be like that in our lives. A lot of times our ways cause destruction. If we look to what we want to do in our own life, it could cause pain, it could cause hurt, to relationships, to our family members, to situations in our life. And it can cause things that take a lot of consequences, and it has a lot of time that will have to be had to heal. But luckily for us, we have a God who loves us, who cares about us, and who wants what's best for us. We have a God that we can turn to when times are hard, when we need answers, when we need something. And we can receive His love. He is the giver, and we are the receiver, and we can receive His love, and He can show us the way. We as humans, we as fallible people, we have the tendency when we make our own decisions, and our own decisions are the things that cause destruction. We break down windows, but we have a God that loves us, and we have a God that can open doors in our life. And of course, the greatest example of receiving love can be found in the Bible. The greatest recipients of love in history are every one of you and me, because we receive the love of Jesus. We see the greatest love story ever told in Matthew 27. And turn there. We're going to read the crucifixion account of Jesus. And I urge you as we read this, I beg of you, don't zone out. Don't just have to pay attention because you've heard it so many times. Just because we hear this story almost every week, we talk about Jesus' death week in and week out, does not mean that it should lose impact and it should lose meaning. So as we read this, read it with a heart, read it with a mind, and read it with the opinion and with the focus of the love that it took. Because I've heard a quote that said, it's not the nails that kept Jesus on the cross. It was His love. Matthew 27, starting in verse 27, says, Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole garrison around him. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. When they had twisted a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! Then they spat on him and took the reed and struck him on the head. When they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him, put his own clothes on him, and led him away to be crucified. Now as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. He compelled them to bear his cross. And when they had come to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, place of the skull, they gave him sour wine mingled with gall to drink. But when he had tasted it, he did not drink. Then they crucified him, and divided his garments, casting lots, that might be fulfilled from which was spoken by the prophet. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Sitting down, they kept watch over him there. They put his head, and the accusation written against him said, This is Jesus, King of the Jews. Then the 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right hand and another on the left, and those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, You have destroyed the temple, and built it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down to the cross. Likewise, the chief priests also mocked with the scribes and elders, saying, He saved others. Himself he cannot save. If he is the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God. Let him deliver him now, and if he were to be crucified, let him deliver him now. He trusted in God. Let him deliver him now if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of God. Even the robbers who were crucified with him reviled him and said the same thing. Now from the 6th hour until the 9th hour there was darkness all over the land. About the 9th hour Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is to say, my God, why have you forsaken me? Some of those who stood there, when they heard that, they said, this man is calling for Elijah. Immediately one of them ran up, took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed, and offered it to him to drink. The rest said, let him alone. Let us see if Elijah will come and save him. And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and yielded up his spirit. Then behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were split, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. So that the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and these things that had happened. They feared greatly, saying, truly, this was the Son of God. Let us never forget these words. Let this never be normalized in our mind. We have a tendency in life when we're exposed to things, when we hear things repeatedly, or when we do things repeatedly, that become normal to us. Even though we hear this story and its details every week, let this never become normalized to us. Let us never view this as anything except an act of pure love. Let us remember the love that it took for God to do this, for Jesus to do this. We as Christians, we as people of this world, we as people that sin, are the greatest recipients of love that have ever been known. We see it in Romans 5:8 that God demonstrates his own love toward us, and that we were still sinners, Christ died for us. John 1:4-17-19 says that because of this love, we shouldn't have fear. Because of this love, we should be bold in the day of judgment. Love has been perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Because fear involves torment, but he who fears has been made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. We are the ultimate recipients of love. So obviously we see God's love through the love that we receive. From Jesus, from people in our life, from fellow Christians, we see that. But we also can see God's love through the love that we share. When I think of someone who shared love in the Bible, one of the first stories that I thought of was Ruth. In Ruth chapter 1, we are introduced to the family of Elimelech. Elimelech has a wife. Her name is Naomi. He has two sons, Mahlon and Chilion. And he has two daughter-in-laws, Orpah and Ruth. Elimelech, Mahlon, and Chilion all died, leaving all three women as widows. Naomi is a widow, and her daughter-in-law is Orpah and Ruth as widows. Naomi knows how bad it's going to be being a widow during this time, so she tells Orpah and Ruth to go back to their homes, to go back to their mother's houses, because they may treat them kindly, and that she's going to go back to Israel. Orpah does. Orpah takes her things and leaves. But Ruth has a fierce loyalty and a fierce love for Naomi. In Ruth 1:16-17, Ruth says, entreat me not to leave you, or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go. And for wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. We see that Ruth showed a fierce loyalty and a strong love to Naomi. She shares her love with Naomi. She doesn't leave her, and she remains faithful to her throughout the book of Ruth. They meet a man named Boaz. As they're gathering grain, Boaz lets them gather from his field. They find out that Boaz is in fact a relative of Naomi. Back in Israel custom, widows can have what is known as a family redeemer, where they go and they can marry them and take their family. We see that they're all throughout the book of Ruth. Ruth is faithful to Naomi. She shows love to Naomi. They end the book. Boaz and Ruth get married. Ruth is taken care of. Naomi is taken care of. And it ends with the genealogy. Ruth becomes the grandmother of Jesse, the great-grandmother of King David. all because she didn't leave her mother-in-law. She showed love to her mother-in-law. A continued love, a continued loyalty, and this is the result. You know, it's great, as we talked about for the last couple of minutes, when we receive love, when perhaps someone that we know shares love with us, when we feel loved, or when we see somebody share love with somebody else. But sharing love is not just something that's a spectator event. It's not something that we have no part in. We all have to share love with other people ourselves. We all have to love people. God makes it very clear that loving people and love is not a one-way street. It's not just ours to receive, but it's also ours to give. It's ours to share. He makes it very clear in multiple passages. Going back to 1 John 4, starting in verse 7, it says, "Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. And this the love of God was manifested toward us, that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. And this is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us, and he sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. No one has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God abides in us, and his love has been perfected in us. By this we know that we abide in him, and he in us, because he has given us his Spirit. And we have seen him testify that the Father who sent the Son is the Savior of the world. Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him, and he in God. We have known and believed the love that God has had for us. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him." See down in 20 and 21, it says, "If someone says, 'I love God,' and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? And this commandment we have from him, that he who loves God must love his brother also." Matthew 5:43-48 is another famous example. "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy,' but I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes the sun rise on evil and on the good, sends rain on the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brethren only, what do you have more than others? Don't the tax collectors do that? Therefore we shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect." Matthew 27:37-30, or Matthew 22:37-39. It's where I drew the inspiration for the topic, the greatest commandment. Love God, love others. Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." John 13:34-35, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love another. By this they will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." We see in these verses very clearly that we are supposed to love each other. He who loves God, or he who loves is born of God and knows God. But on the contrary, he who does not love does not know God. If God loves us, we ought to love each other. Love those who hate you. Pray for those who spitefully use you. Love your enemies. The first and greatest commandment is to love God, and the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor, and especially John 13. Notice what it says. "By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." It's not saying the world will know that we are Christians if we love the world. It's saying the world will know that we are Christians if we love other Christians. I think sometimes that gets lost. Sometimes we talk so much about loving the world and having love for lost souls and wanting to bring lost souls to Christ, loving them enough to be able to go to people that we know that aren't members of the church and tell them the Bible and tell them the gospel and have them become baptized. But what about after they become baptized? What about the people here that are in this building tonight? Do we not have the same love for them? Do we not have the same desire to love them after they've been pulled out of the water as before they were pulled out of the water? Do we love our fellow Christians? Do we have love in our heart, or do we have hate, some resentment, maybe some drama or some gossip with other Christians? I want to submit to you tonight, there is not an excuse we have not to love other Christians. We think about heaven. I imagine that heaven is the place that we all want to be if we're here tonight. Either we have a fervent desire to serve God and go to heaven, or we're people that have come here with a curious nature, wondering what Jesus is about, wondering what God's about, and wondering what heaven is. We all have something about heaven we want to go to heaven. I submit to you that if you want to go to heaven, but you're not loving other Christians, you're in war with other Christians, or you have hate in your heart for other Christians, that doesn't make sense to me, because heaven, of course, is the place where we can serve God, love God, worship God for eternity, love Jesus for eternity, worship Him, be with the angels, but we're also going to be with other Christians. And if we're on this side of heaven, if we're on this earth, and our view towards Christians, our view towards other people in the Lord's church, are things like hate, or jealousy, anger, being upset when something happens or something good, or when something good happens to somebody, being jealous, or when something bad happens, not comforting them. If we get involved in petty things and drama, if we have that attitude towards people on this side of heaven, what makes us want to be on that side of heaven and be with those people for eternity? Because the same people that you're spending your time with in this church building are the same people that you're going to spend time with in eternity. And if we can't get along with each other here, what makes us think that we're going to be able to get along with each other up there? And what makes us think that God would want that kind of attitude in His kingdom? There was a quote I heard in a sermon one time, and it really stuck with me. It said, "To be above with the saints we love, now that would be glory. To be below with the saints we know, now that's a different story." Do we have that attitude? Are we having that attitude that we have some sort of resentment or some sort of anger for people that are in God's church? And I'm not saying that this is easy. I don't want you to walk out of this building and get the impression that I'm saying that you're a terrible person if you don't love every single person you ever come in contact to. And all you have to do is walk out of this building and just say, "I'm going to change," and then you're instantly going to love everybody. This is something that is hard. It's not easy to love. It's not always easy to love people, especially when bad things happen. And I don't want to minimize. I don't know everybody's story. You could have had something very bad happen to you. Somebody could have done something bad, awful, ungodly, unspiritual to you. Maybe somebody that's in the Lord's church, maybe somebody in this building tonight. I don't know everybody's story. You may think that you have justified reasons to not have love or to have anger and hatred for somebody. I'm not trying to minimize that, but also remember that there's only been one person to ever live on this earth and to be perfect and to show God's love constantly. That was Jesus Christ. None of us in this room are Jesus Christ. So I'm telling you, if you feel hatred for somebody, if you feel that somebody has wronged you, it's very possible that there's another person that may feel that same way about you. Another person that you know, whether it be in the world or in the church, may feel that you've wronged them. May feel that they have some reason to hate you. None of us are perfect. And I also want to make the point that I'm not saying that loving somebody is putting yourself in a bad situation or doing whatever they tell you, obeying their every command. It's not putting yourself in a bad situation where you have the ability to get hurt again, to have your trust violated again, to be abused, to have something bad happen to you. It's not that. It's just having the care for their soul. Wanting them to go to heaven, even though they may have done something bad to you, or even though you may not have a great life for them. Knowing that their soul is the most important thing, not wishing ill will towards anybody, but wanting everybody that has ever lived to be under God and under His kingdom. We don't always have to like every single person, or from the standpoint of we always want to hang out with them, we have the same hobbies as them, we want to do things with them. God has made us all unique. We all have our own hobbies. We all have our own desires. We all have our own personalities. That doesn't mean that every single one of us has to be best friends with every single one of everybody else in the church, or that we have to hang out constantly and do the same things, because we have our different desires. We have our different hobbies. We have our different activities. We're going to have different friends within the church, though we may on a worldly plane go closer to than others. But in the spiritual plane, we should love each other in a way in the church that we could go to any single one in this church with a spiritual issue and know that they would want what's best for us and know that we could address it with them. It may not be that I want to hang out with somebody all the time or go watch a football game with somebody all the time. We may have a different interest our different desires, our different activities, our different hobbies. But on that spiritual plane, we should all be the same. We should all have love for each other. We should all want what's best for each other. And we should be able to go to anybody within this church with a spiritual matter or a spiritual concern, or when we feel down, and have a Bible study with them and study the Bible, because we are all Christians and we should all love each other. Again, it's not something that's always going to be easy. It's not something that's going to be fun, but it's something that's worth doing, because I guarantee you, no matter how much in your life you felt like you've been wrong, no matter how much in your life that you felt like something's been bad that's happened to you, somebody has violated your trust, somebody doesn't deserve your love, or maybe you've done something and you feel like that you don't deserve somebody else's love. Maybe you feel guilt over something bad that's happened in your life, or something bad that you've done in your life. No matter the case, whatever bad thing has happened to you, or whatever bad thing that you have done, I guarantee you 100% what you did to Christ is much worse. Every time we sin, every time we fall short, every time we choose the devil over Jesus, we're showing that love for the devil, we're showing hate for Christ. Christ is the only person that has ever lived that didn't deserve the fate that he got. And he did that because he loved us. He has more reason, he has more of a stance, he has more of an argument to have hate in his heart for people than anybody who has ever lived. Certainly more than you and me. He had more reason than anybody to have hate, to not do what he did. And it wasn't always easy for him. He did pray fervently in the Garden of Gethsemane that the cup may pass from him. He did sweat blood. He did cry. It wasn't an easy, great thing that he could just do. But he did it anyway because he loves us so much. And even though every time we sin, we're putting those nails back into Christ. Of course, the song that we sing sometimes, "Can he still feel the nails? Every time I fail, does he hear the crowd cry, crucified him?" Every time we sin, and every time we pick a love of sin over a love of God, Jesus still did that. He still died on the cross because he has that love for us. The person in the world that had the most justified reasons to have hate in their heart for somebody loved us each enough anyway that he died for us. And if he can do that, we should be able to love each other. So maybe tonight you've really struggled. You're holding hate for somebody in the world. You're holding hate for somebody in the church. You feel like somebody's done something bad to you, and you're holding on and you're clinging to that hate. You want to be let free. Well, luckily for us, God's love and his Son's blood can wash away that hate. It can wash away that, it can cleanse those sins. Romans 8, starting verse 31 says, "What shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his only Son, but delivered him up to us all. How shall he not with him also freely give all things? Who shall bring a charge against God's elect? It is God who justifies. Who is he who condemns? It is Christ who died and furthermore is also risen, who is even at the right hand of God, who also makes intercession for us. What shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? As it is written, for your sake we are all killed all the day long. We are so accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Yet in these things we are more than conquerors through him who has loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God which is in Christ Jesus our Lord." If you have something tonight that you're really struggling with, Paul says that nothing can separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. We have the love where you can come forward and you can come to a church of people that love you, that will pray for you, and that will want what's best for you. Or maybe tonight you have never experienced the best love that you could ever feel. Imagine the greatest and best love that you've ever had in your entire life, and the love of God doesn't even come close. Maybe you have not been baptized. You haven't experienced the best love that you could ever hope to experience in your life. If you want to experience that, you can come forward and be baptized for your remission of the sins and become a Christian. If you have these needs, or if you have any other needs, please come forward as we stand and as we sing.